So we have sports director Nick Carboni joining us here in the Live Impact News studio as the Hornets remain very busy here. And so we're just now seeing another signing, and this is a league veteran, Nick.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the direction the Hornets are clearly taking in a second, Vanessa. But just to get people up to speed, this is the quote-unquote legal tampering period for the NBA, which means teams can legally reach out to agents and player representatives and work out deals. They just can't officially announce them until free agency actually begins July 6th. It was already happening anyway, so they just put a moniker on it of the legal tampering period. So the Hornets have been very busy. We've been in here a lot talking about their moves, and the latest I've confirmed with a league source is signing 11-year NBA veteran guard Spencer Dinwiddie, and I think he brings a lot to the table for this team. He is, somebody that can relieve LaMelo Ball on the floor and come in and take over and run a competent offense, which has been a problem for a while. He's somebody that can get to the bucket. He's somebody that can shoot. His three-point percentage is pretty good as well, and a smart player and a player who can lead as well. So they've got a whole bevy of guards. We can address that situation and what might be next soon too, but there's a direction here, and I think the direction is this organization wants to compete for a playoff spot this year, compete for at least a play-in tournament spot, that 10 seed in an Eastern Conference that is clearly wide open in the middle, and they want to see what their core or supposed core of LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and who else is in that core looks like in that situation. What is LaMelo Ball's kind of trajectory as a playoff basketball player? They just haven't been able to figure that out because they haven't been there. And I think that the moves that they've made, bringing in veterans, bringing in players who just know what they're doing and have been around for a long time, like Pat Connaughton, Colin Sexton, and now Spencer Dinwiddie, Mason Plumlee the other night as well, is a clear, we need some adults in the room to take this team to the playoffs or at least get close to it so we can see what we truly have in our supposed franchise players.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call out in the sense of the diversity of what we're starting to see things shaping up for. You just alluded to the fact that it really does feel like the team is trying to make something in the near future versus I think, sometimes fans in general of any sort of franchise might get frustrated with rebuilding years where you're like, okay, well, this is going to take some time. But you feel like they're being pretty aggressive about the near future, right?
I do, with these moves that they've made really since draft night, Vanessa. And this is a new front office in Jeff Peterson. It's his second year leading things. It's a relatively new ownership group that took over from Michael Jordan as majority owners, Gabe Plotkin and Rick Schnall. And the sense is, and Schnall and Plotkin are at most of the games. They saw their team win 19 games in an 82-game season last year. That clearly did not sit well. And I do think that Jeff Peterson, the president of basketball operations, effectively the general manager who's running the front office, in the past when he's been asked, somebody asked him to put it into baseball terms, where is the rebuild? And he said something like first or second inning. Well, he's also said they don't want to skip steps, but as I mentioned in here the other night, they want to take steps forward. And I think, they've maybe skipped a few innings here to try to get, they've got a window of opportunity here with LaMelo Ball on a very big contract and Brandon Miller, an ascending, hopefully perennial all-star in the NBA, to figure out exactly what that core is and who is on it.
Well, it's interesting to see because I also felt like I heard you mention recently, maybe it was yesterday, it's tough to tell just because I think the cycle is moving so fast on all of these developments, but you were talking about how Jeff Peterson also is picking up some picks, if you will, for down the road as well.
Yeah, his cachet of picks right now, it's hard to even find an updated list. The one we used on our draft night special is now, there's more than that because they added a 2029 first-round pick from Phoenix there. In the Pat Connaughton deal yesterday, they got 2 second-round picks, future seconds from Milwaukee, and they go out all the way, through 2032 at this point, and people shouldn't really look at the year of the picks. They should just look at kind of the total bundle of picks, first and second rounders. I think they entered draft night with, including this draft, with like 8 in 6 years for first round picks. So it's okay. So is this what we had, Jeb? Yeah, this is, so add a 2029 first to that, add seconds in 2031 and 2032. They got a future second with Colin Sexton from the Utah Jazz. So a lot of people are looking at the moves they've made over the past couple of days, including the draft, when they drafted a shooting guard in Con Knippel and basically another shooting guard, wing player, in Liam McNeely. Right now, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 what you could call guards. Really allowed 15 players. So they've obviously got to make more room, and they've, got to improve the front court a little bit too. But now you have all this excess in guards at that position, and you have all of this excess in picks. I'm not saying they make a seismic move and use multiple future first-round picks for somebody right now. That may be something they look to cash in on down the road, maybe next offseason. But I think they could use some of those guards that, maybe kind of squeezed out with these recent moves, and some of those second-round picks especially, to go and get a legitimate guy at the 4, a legitimate guy at the 5, because right now those are the positions that are very thin on this roster. So I think everybody's kind of looking at, what are we going to do with all these guards? Well, they're not all going to be here. I mean, some of them are very recent picks. KJ Simpson was a second-round pick last year. I'm not sure what the ceiling is for him, but he's got some talent. Nick Smith Jr. was a first-round pick in Brandon Miller's draft class. He's shown some flashes over 2 years. He's still young. I think he's 21 years old. And, he has shown the ability to shoot and score. So he could be a big trade piece here, too. So I think also, the ability and willingness for this front office, as opposed to the last one, to move off of even recent draft picks that just aren't working out, or you can basically sign over in free agency. I think you're seeing that here, and I think you will see it soon. I think another move is probably coming for the Hornets to use some of these extra guards, use some of these extra future picks to go out and get a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, I was going to ask, if you could look into the crystal ball, how many more times are you coming into the Live Impact News studio with updates?
Well, I will be in New England tomorrow, so I will not. Yeah, sorry. I'll be eating a lobster roll hopefully this time tomorrow. But Danielle Stein will be here, and it's fast and furious, this free agency stuff. I'm not sure how many more people they're going to sign off the open market, and I came in here last night twice because they brought Trey Mann back. He's one of the guards that they're obviously going to keep on a 3-year contract. But I think now they've positioned themselves to make a move to kind of complete the starting lineup, because right now, your power forwards are Miles Bridges, could be a trade candidate himself, very durable, has shown the ability to score, has shown the ability to be efficient when he's not being asked to do everything on the floor. Tijon Salon, who's still got a long way to go in his career to get to where they hope he can be. And then center, you've got Moussa Diabate, who came off of a 2-way contract last year, signed a legitimate NBA contract, and is an incredible rebounder, but he's just 6'9". That can't be your, primary center in the NBA. They drafted Ryan Kalkbrenner, who can do a few things really, really well, but I don't think is your starting center, especially not right now in his first season. Mason Plumlee comes in as kind of a rotational big. So I think center is where they're going to look to make a move. And maybe they have their eye on somebody that's not on the open market that they'll need to trade for, but now, like I said, they have the pieces to go out and make a pretty significant move. Again, I don't think it'll be seismic and NBA shattering. I don't think it'll lead SportsCenter by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it'll be a big deal here.